Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of The Snake Pit. I'm your host, Son of Bat, and tonight I'll be taking a dive down to about the midway point of the disturbing movie's Iceberg, and I'm going to be covering a short film from 1994. Some people may disagree that this is on the midway level of the disturbing iceberg, and they may push it further down. I don't know, I'd say this is about fair in the middle. It's not like anything I haven't seen before, but it certainly was a wild ride for 32 minutes. It definitely stacks up with some of the other disturbing movies on that list, and that is 1994's Aftermath, directed by Nacho Cerdà, starring Pep Tosar, Angel Tares, Jordi Tarida, and Zevi Kolomir, and distributed originally by Chainsaw Video. However, this version I'm covering is the Unearthed Films version, the special edition. And like I said, this is the second film in a trilogy called the Death Trilogy, the first film being 1990's The Awakening, and the final film being 1998's Genesis. I unfortunately haven't checked out the first or the third film. It's about 3 in the morning right now. Maybe I'll check them out in a different video and I'll see how they stack up to this one. But the main reason why I picked Aftermath is it's a pretty well-known one in the extreme horror community. And I figured for most of you who aren't really into extreme movies or might be getting a start into it, why not cover this one? And I'm just going to flat out say it. This movie is about necrophilia. Yeah, it's about a mortician who fucks dead bodies. And, you know, as simple as it sounds, there was a lot going for this movie. It had some really wild audio mixing, some really crazy ambient sounds that really made me think of something like, you know, a David Lynch movie. There was a classical music, I believe, by a song by Mozart at the beginning, which is in fucking everything, but it was wild. It was in this. The cinematography was interesting. There was some really good use of lighting, especially with the contrast on the surgical steel and the blades and stuff. The gore effects by, I believe, DDT was the company, were phenomenal. They were grotesque, disgusting, vile, and yeah, I don't know. They did a great job. They nailed it. The gore was amazing in this movie. And yeah, this movie is basically gore porn. A lot of people try to say it has like this artistic merit to it, and again, it's kind of hard to pick up on what really the message was because there was no dialogue in this movie aside from like grunts and noises, the sound of water dripping and like steel hitting steel and bodies being cut open. Like there was no spoken dialogue. There was a lot of facial expression and a lot of expression with eyes, which was very good, but again, there really wasn't much of a plot I could pick up from here other than a really fucked up guy doing some fucked up shit. But a basic rundown of the plot is there's a woman named Marta who dies in a car crash, and then her body's brought to the morgue, and the first thing we see is these two morticians working on two separate bodies. They're both guys, and I don't know if these two bodies were also in the car crash. Again, no dialogue, so they never really say it, but you got one guy who's going about his job, cutting open the body, taking out the organs and stuff, and then you got this other guy who's just labeled as forensic. I believe he's played by Pep Tosar, and again, I don't really know who played who, but I believe it was Pep who played this guy, the necrophile. This guy played psychopath very well. Like, he didn't say anything, but you could see it in his fucking face. Like, this guy was unhinged as shit. The way he was watching the other medic, like, cut up the body and do his job, like, with this sense of excitement and arousal was just so disturbing. Yeah, he really did a good job. And I don't even know how Nacho, the director, would have even approached this guy. Like, how do you go up to an actor and tell him, like, okay, so your motivation and your role is that body right there? You want to fuck it. And this guy, like, I've heard a lot of people say that the scene in question was like 10 minutes long, but I honestly think it was about 4 or 5 minutes most. Wild 4 and 5 minutes, don't get me wrong, it was fucking crazy, but like, it wasn't like that fucked up. Like, I think what was more fucked up was like what he was doing beforehand, as crazy as it sounds. And it's just like, even though it was a dead body, it just hurt to watch this guy. Like, again, okay, I might as well just go further into the plot, but basically they carve up the two bodies, and once the second mortician leaves and it's just the main guy there, you can tell he's getting really into his work, finishes up with the other male body, then he takes out the woman's body, Marta, and then he basically starts caressing her with a knife, which turns into like violent, like cutting foreplay up and down her chest, which I knew where this was going to go the way his arm was winding up, but he basically finishes it off by stabbing her repeatedly in the snatch with this blade. And yeah, man, oh shit, like that was fucking brutal. And then he cuts her open. We don't see him cut her open, we just see like her body open after. And then he hops on top, sets up a camera, and starts taking pictures of him fucking nailing the corpse. And yeah, again, it wasn't a 10-minute scene. It definitely wasn't comfortable, but it wasn't a 10-minute scene. And yeah, it ends with him cleaning up, leaving, and bringing some mystery meat to his dog before credits roll. I don't know how this stacks up with the first or the third film. Again, I gotta check those out and see how they all fit together. Mainly, I picked this because of how I've seen people talk about it. I've had it for a while, and I figured, hey, 30-minute movie, let's bang it out and see how it is. And holy shit, man, like, that was a wild one. Again, maybe this will appeal to people who are into movies like Necromantic 2, stuff like that, but I don't see this being, like, I don't see this being big for a general audience. This is, like, more or less just gore porn. Very good gore porn. I mean, like, the effects company, they did an amazing job with what they were tasked to do. And like, you can tell at some points that it didn't look totally real, but at the same time, like, the concept is just so messed up, and the fact that you're seeing it is just like, you kind of just like block the fact that it, like, not all of it looks that real, because it's just so crazy to see. Like, me personally, I'd have to say I like Necromantic more. I'd have to go into that one too, because that's another wild movie in and of itself. It could be biased because I have a giant Necromantic poster behind me, but yeah, for a necrophilia movie, like, if you're into that type of shit, like, you'll maybe get your kicks out of this. This is another wild release from Unearthed Films. Like, if you know Unearthed Films, you pretty much know what you're gonna get. Like, they be releasing some of the craziest shit out there. And yeah, I don't know how accessible this DVD is. I'm pretty sure this is an older one, but if you can get your hands on it, and you're like a wacko like me, and you're trying to like get all the movies on the disturbing iceberg or all the really fucked up horror movies, this one I can see being added to your list. If you're a gore fan, I gotta recommend this one. But if you're an average horror fan, like, you know what I mean, and even like if you dabble in like torture porn movies, like, like the later Saw movies would count, and like Hostel, but if you dabble in that kind of stuff and you're into like really extreme shit, give this one a spin. But like, I don't even know, I feel like someone who dabbles in that shit, this would be a little too much for them. Like, this is just unadulterated necrophilia, 30-minute movie, bang, done. And it's just, yeah, you get what you get. Yeah, I've heard there's people say there's some artistic merit to this movie, and the cinematography was great, the use of sound was really, really something, but I don't know what the deeper meaning behind this movie is. Maybe if y'all in the comments know, maybe I'm an idiot and I didn't see it, but like, if you guys know what the actual meaning behind this is supposed to be, drop a comment down below. I would love to hear your interpretation on this. But for me, it was just a sick guy fucking a corpse. There wasn't anything too deep about it, man. Like, yeah, it was just a fucked up mortician doing fucked up shit to a body. Like, at least with Necromantic, like, it wasn't like, it was slightly deeper because you had the sort of love triangle going on between the main dude, his girlfriend, and the body, and there was like a lot of shit going on. And I think the dialogue really helped it in that sense. Like, this movie had no dialogue, and it's not the fact that it was like borderline silent that made it a problem. I thought the no dialogue was a very interesting direction. Like I said, the use of like facial expression and eyes was very cool, but I feel by not having a full cohesive narrative with what's going on, like, you kind of just have shock for the sake of shock. And I don't know if that's what Nacho's intent was. I gotta check again Awakening and Genesis to see exactly what those cover and how they basically line up with this one. But to me, all I'm seeing here was just, yeah, like a gore porn flick. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like, I don't know, I kind of find it funny that like in the extreme community you have some of these people who are like, you get a movie that's just gross, right? Like, for the sake of being gross, or a movie that's extreme for the sake of being extreme, and these people pull like these deep, like deep meanings out of their ass, and they're just like, oh yeah, this is what it means, it's like a statement about like blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, how are you seeing that? I mean, it like makes me think of that fucking that South Park episode, the one about the tale of Scrody McBooger balls, and like Congress is saying that there's a deep meaning about this, that, and the third, and the kids are like, no, there's no meaning to it. It's just gross. And that's where I'm kind of standing on it. I feel like, again, it's great in the extreme movie canon. I definitely think it stands out. It's memorable, but like, is it like, you know, some deep like thing? Like, probably not. Like, it's just an exercise in gore effects. And again, maybe I could be totally wrong. Again, if you got a meaning, correct me in the comments. That would be cool. But yeah, I mean, for gore, I'd give this a 10 out of 10. I'd recommend this to gore hounds. I'd recommend this to people into wild shit. If you've seen Necromantic and you thought that was soft, maybe this will be a little bit more. But as a movie, and I mean, it's kind of unfair because this is a short film, but you know, this one, I feel like it stands, like I said, with some of the longer movies. So like, I'm going to rate this as such. I'm going to give this about a 5.5, mainly because I kind of wanted more out of it. I don't know, maybe Necromantic 1 and 2 spoiled me, specifically Necromantic 2 with its very long plot, but I was just like maybe in the mood for a little bit more to it than just 1, 2, wham bam, thank you ma'am, and it's done. Like, I don't know, gore effects 10 out of 10, but the movie as a whole, yeah, I give that about a 5.5. If you guys know anything else in the iceberg, drop in a comment down below. Hopefully I have it. If I do, I will cover it. Definitely going to be getting around to covering more Unearthed DVDs. I love that company. They always put out some wild shit, whether it's like some killer animal attack shit, like, you know, fucking Calamity of Snakes, or like, you know, some vile new age shit like a Serbian film. They always got it on lock. This was, you know, for their catalog, their DVD canon, this was good. Especially after seeing shit like City of Rot. Like, this is way better than City of Rot. And you know what? Into some respects, like, I wasn't going to go on a rant about it. This movie beat Exorcist Believer, in my opinion. So whenever that comes down and about, you know, whenever that review comes down the pipe, just know that Aftermath, the movie about a fucking mortician fucking a corpse, is going to get a higher rating than big AAA Hollywood shitbox reboot Exorcist Believer. Yeah, you know, I said I wasn't going to go into a rant here. I'm a little baked. It's 3 in the fucking morning. But yeah, not a great movie. Extreme movie, yes. Good gore. Still better than Exorcist Believer. 5.5. Check it out. If you are absolutely appalled by seeing this and you want to like get, you know, like riled up about it, comment down below. I want to hear about how I ruined your day. Shit seems pretty funny. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, like I said a billion times. Subscribe if you aren't. You'll get more videos like this in your feed. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Have a good night. Peace.